guys, it's Sarah. Okay, so I'm going to keep this a little short because I'm going to be telling you what I read for the hashtag TBR takedown readathon that I just did for the first month of June, and I did really well. I don't want to go through big long synopsises because I'm going to save those for my June wrap up, but I do want to go ahead and share with you all the books that I read for it. I followed the challenges that Shannon gave us, and her YouTube channel name is Leaning Lights, and I'll include a link to her channel down below if you want to go check it out. And she issued 5 challenges, and I met 3.5, I'm gonna say. And yeah, so let's get started. The first book that I read in the readathon is a book that fulfilled the challenge to read something that's been on your TBR for over a year. And I decided to pick up Save Me From Myself, and this was written by Brian Head Welsh, and he was one of the founding members of Korn. He was their lead guitarist. And I really liked this book. I think I gave it 4 stars only because the writing wasn't the best, because he's not a writer, he's a musician. But it was a very good telling of everything, and I really enjoyed all the background with the band Korn and how they started and how their friendships progressed and everything, because Korn is my favorite band of all time. And I just really liked it. I liked the way that he told the story, and he went pretty much in order. He started from the beginning and stopped at the end. It wasn't a ton of flashbacks and things like that. Sometimes that can get really confusing, but this was really good. His story is both sad and inspirational at the same time, because he went through a lot to get where he is today, and he had a lot of bad things happen and a lot of toxic relationships, and made some really bad decisions that he completely owns. And just the way that he was called by God is really inspirational, and something that I don't think a lot of people really experience. So I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars, and yes, and I have now read it, and I'm very happy that I did. And the second book that I picked up for the readathon is a book that was a sequel, and this one was a little disappointing, guys. Okay, so I picked up Revenge Wears Prada by Lauren Weisberger, and this is the sequel to The Devil Wears Prada. I got 100 pages into it, and then I put it down because I did not enjoy it at all. It was boring. I'm not really caring about these characters right now. It's the same characters as in the first book. There is one new character. Andy has a fiance in this book, and they're about to get married, but yeah, I don't know. I spent 2 days on it, and I only read 100 pages, and I'm kind of like, like I don't have any interest in it. It's not holding my interest. I'm bored. I don't want to pick it up and continue with it, and then it kind of made me get into a point where I didn't want to read, and I was like, no, this is not happening during your readathon. So I do want to finish it eventually, because I did pay for this book, and it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous book. So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it on my bedstand, and in between every other book that I read, I'm going to pick this up and read 2 or 3 chapters and just kind of slowly make my way through it. Because if I sit down and just try to read the rest of it, it's going to take me forever, and I'm not going to enjoy it. So I'm thinking if I break it up into smaller pieces in between some of my other books, I think that that's going to help me get through it without it feeling like torture. So very disappointing. I really like Lauren Weisberger, so I don't want to give up on it completely, but this one is just not very good, and I think maybe part of it is that it might have been too long in between the books, because the first book was written about early 2000s, and this one just came out in 2013, so it was about 10 years, and that's actually the time span that covers the book as well. From the last one, it's like 10 years later. But I think it's just a little bit too much time maybe, and I don't know. I'm not enjoying it. I'm gonna finish it eventually. I will get through it, but wah wah. And after that one, I needed something quick and easy and something that would get me back into the reading mood. So I decided to pick up my book that was going to fulfill the challenge prompt to read something out of your comfort zone. So I picked up a graphic novel, and I picked up Storm Season. And this one is based on the Derek Storm series that is written by Richard Castle in the show Castle. I hope that makes sense. If you watch Castle, you know what I'm talking about. And so this little graphic novel series follows his fictional characters that the fictional Richard Castle writes. So yeah. It was cute. I did finish it in one sitting. Actually two, only because I had to get up and make my girls lunch. But I read it in about 45 minutes. And it was cute. It was cool. The art was really good, I think. I enjoyed reading kind of in a different format because I'm reading speech bubbles, and you know, they're going in between characters and things like that, so that was a little bit of a challenge instead of, you know, just reading the lined words. But the graphics were really good, like I said. The story was cool, it was cute, and it doesn't make me want to jump completely on the graphic novel bandwagon quite yet, but I did enjoy it, and it was really something that I needed after reading something I wasn't enjoying. It kind of helped pick me back up a little bit, so I liked it. And after the graphic novel, I decided to pick up my Kindle, and I read Pines by Blake Crouch, and this one fulfills the challenge prompt to read the first book in a series. This one is a trilogy, and there's a actual miniseries on TV right now called Wayward Pines, and that miniseries follows this trilogy. It's all 3 books into 10 episodes on TV right now. So I'm recording it and I want to read all 3 books before I watch it because I don't want anything to be spoiled. This one, I went into it very blind. I knew it was going to be kind of like a mystery and a thriller, and you're not really supposed to know what's going on. So I'm really glad that I decided to read the book first, because if I watched the show first, I probably wouldn't be interested in reading the book. But guys, it completely, like, I flew through this book. I think I read the second half of it in one day, just completely. I could not put it down. I wanted to know what was happening. Quite a few times I actually, like, I was reading it and I said, what? Like, out loud, like, what? What's going on? Because you have no idea what's going on the entire time. And it's really good. And the ending, I did not see coming at all. Like, what actually is happening in this setting, I had no clue that that was what it was going to be. I didn't even cross my mind. So very good. I really, really enjoyed it. I went through it really quickly. I have the other 2 books on my Kindle, so I will be getting to those like ASAP. I think I'm going to finish what I have planned to read in June, and then I'm going to move on to both of those 2 because I want to see what happens next. And I hear that the second one is a big cliffhanger as well, so I'm going to immediately want to go on to the third one. But Blake Crouch, Pines, super awesome. And the last book that I picked up for the readathon was a book from your most recent book haul, and I decided to pick up Enchanted by Renee Denfeld. This one is short as well. I have started it. I have not gotten very far. And I have not read for the past 2 days because we've had a lot going on, and I started having some back problems recently, so my back was kind of killing me a little bit. So I was also kind of just not in the mood to read. And probably because I've been reading so much, like, you know, trying to get through 5 books in a week, that's a lot for me, especially because I'm a mom with 2 younger kids and my husband is currently not home. So, you know, it's a little hard for me to find that kind of time. But by the time I got to this one, I think I started this one on Saturday, and it's beautifully, beautifully written for sure. This one is about 230 pages, and I'm on page 25, so I didn't get very far in it, but as of right now, this is following a death row investigator, so a woman who investigates death row cases and tries to see if she can prove that this death row inmate is innocent. And the only thing I'm getting right now is that she has been assigned to a new case, and it's someone who actually doesn't want to be found innocent. He actually wants to die. So I'm guessing that that is how this is going to work. But this is actually from the perspective of a fellow inmate. So it's really interesting. But like I said, very beautifully written. The words are beautiful. So I know that once I actually sit down and want to focus on it, I will get through it pretty quickly. I just think by the end of the week, I was just a little burnt out. So, but I'm going to continue this one for sure. And that is going to keep me going to go on to the next books in the month of June for me. So that is what I read. And I'm going to continue on. I'm going to finish this one for sure here, hopefully really soon. And the next book that I'm going to read, I actually am going to change up my TBR a little bit because I had done the June TBR, but I'm going to replace one. I had said I was going to read The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas, which is the 5 novellas of the Throne of Glass series. And I ended up taking that back to the library unread because I actually ended up buying it instead. I found a bookstore in our town, which I did not know existed, and it's not huge, it's not like Barnes & Noble, but it has a good selection. And I found the Throne of Glass series there, and they're like really nice, beautiful paperbacks. So I got the first two, which I've already read. I got Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, and I've already read those. And then I got the Assassin's Blade as well. They did have the third book, Air of Fire, but it was only in hardback because that's not, the paperback's not going to come out until September. But I've already pre-ordered that on Amazon. So I went ahead and bought it. So since I bought it, I took it back to the library, and I'm gonna probably push that to July, because also at the library a book came in that I've been on the waiting list for it for months, and that is The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. So I'm gonna read that one after I finish The Enchanted, and that is gonna be a psychological thriller. It's been compared a lot to Gone Girl, which is one of my favorite books of all time. I'm not going to go into it expecting it to be like Gone Girl, because I don't think any other book can be like Gone Girl. But it's supposed to be kind of like, you know, you're kind of think you know what's happening, but it's really not, and you're kind of trying to guess and what's happening and things like that. So I'm going to get to that one next, and then I will continue on with the rest of my TBR. Yeah, hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I'll include a link to my June TBR video as well. It's actually the one before this one, but if you want to check it out, go ahead and check that out as well. And yes, that's it. I'm gonna go because I've talked more than I wanted to talk already anyway. All right, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye.